You know, my dear ones, when you grow older, much older, you begin to notice that life is built on the little things. It's not about grand adventures anymore, though those are beautiful in their time. No, it's about being able to get out of bed without fear, to walk into your kitchen and make yourself a cup of coffee, to bend down and pick up the newspaper without pain. And here's the truth. All those little things depend on one tiny, often forgotten muscle. Without it, independence slips away quietly, almost without you noticing. I didn't believe this at first. I thought getting weaker was just part of the deal of old age. But the more I learned, the more I realized, no, there are things we can do. And today, I want to share this with you as a friend, as someone who has lived through many seasons of life, and who doesn't want you to suffer unnecessarily. 1. The hidden power of the hip flexors. Now, let's talk about this forgotten muscle. The hip flexors. They're not glamorous. You don't hear about them in fitness magazines. No one brags. I have the strongest hip flexors in town. But, oh, how important they are. These muscles sit deep in front of your hips, and their main job is simple: to help you lift your legs, to climb stairs, to stand up from a chair, to steady yourself when you trip. And here's something you may not know. When they weaken, you start to shuffle. You stop lifting your feet properly. And shuffling is one of the greatest risk factors for falls. A fall, as you may know, can change a life overnight. One broken hip, and independence is gone. I've seen it too many times. 2. A story from my own life. Let me share a personal story. When I was 75, I noticed something strange. I was out in the garden, and I wanted to step over a low border of bricks. It wasn't tall, but when I lifted my foot, I stumbled. My wife laughed kindly and said, "You're not as light on your feet as you used to be." At first, I brushed it off, but then the same thing happened with stairs. And one morning, I almost tripped getting out of bed. That's when I started paying attention. And I realized it wasn't my knees, it wasn't my balance, it was my hips. Those quiet muscles have been ignored for decades. 3. The cost of neglect. Let's talk about what happens when we don't take care of this area. A dear friend of mine, Margaret, who lived just down the street, was a strong, lively woman in her younger years. She raised 3 children, cooked every meal from scratch, kept a beautiful home. But as she grew older, she never exercised. When she turned 80, she began struggling with simple things. First, she stopped going upstairs because it felt too much. Then she needed help getting out of chairs. Finally, she had a fall because her legs just didn't lift the way they used to. Margaret is still with us. Thank God, but she's not independent anymore. She needs help with everything. And that's not because her mind gave out. Her mind is as sharp as ever. It was her body, specifically her hips, that betrayed her. 4. How to spot the warning signs. So, how do you know if this muscle is slipping away on you? Do you have trouble lifting your leg into the car? Do you find yourself needing to hold on to the railing every time you climb stairs? Do you struggle to tie your shoes because you can't lift your knee high enough? Or maybe you catch your toes on the carpet when walking. These are the whispers, the early warnings. Don't ignore them. 5. Gentle ways to rebuild strength. Now, I promised I wouldn't give you impossible exercises. I'm not here to turn anyone into an athlete, but there are little movements done every day that can make all the difference. Here are a few I've been doing myself. Seated marches. Sit in a sturdy chair. Lift one knee up slowly, then lower. Switch sides 10 times each. Standing holds. Stand by the kitchen counter. Hold on for balance. Lift your knee gently. Hold for 3 seconds. Lower. Side steps. With light support, step sideways, left and right, keeping steady. You don't need fancy equipment. just consistency. Even 5 minutes a day is a gift to your future self. 6. The joy of small victories. I remember one morning, after a few weeks of practicing these little movements, I noticed something magical. I could lift my leg into the car without strain. I climbed the stairs without pulling myself with both arms. It may sound small, but to me, it felt like winning the lottery. Because independence, my friends, is not about grand achievements. It's about these victories, these quiet, daily freedoms. 7. The deeper meaning of independence. Let me pause here, because independence is not just physical. It's emotional, too. When we can move freely, we feel capable. We feel useful. We feel like ourselves. But when we lose that, we begin to shrink, not just in body, but in spirit. And I don't want that for you. I don't want you to sit in a chair day after day, watching life pass by. No, I want you to feel the breeze on your face, to step outside, to visit your family, to keep living. 8. A word to the younger listeners. And to those of you who are younger, perhaps 40, 50, even 60, I'll say this. Start now. Do not wait until you're forced to. The gift of strength is something you must invest in early. Think of it as saving money for the future. Only this time, you're saving strength. And trust me, when you're 80, you'll be grateful you did. 9. Lessons from the heart. Here's something I've learned. Life is not about how many years we live, but how we live those years. I would rather have 10 years of independence than 20 years of helplessness. And the good news is we can influence that choice. Every time you lift your leg, every time you march in place, you're casting a vote for independence, for freedom, for dignity. So, my dear friends, let me ask you, what does independence mean to you? Is it being able to make your own breakfast? To walk to church without help? To sit on the porch and rise again without someone pulling you up? For me, independence means being able to care for myself, even in the small ways. And it means sparing my children from worrying too much about me. That's love. 2, you see, staying strong not just for yourself, but for the ones you love. So please, take this old voice seriously. Care for your hips. Care for your strength. And don't let age steal your freedom before it has to. If you've listened this far, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Leave me a comment below. Tell me what independence means in your life. And if my words touch you, I'd be grateful if you liked this video, subscribe for more gentle talks, and share it with someone who needs encouragement. Because wisdom, my friends, is not meant to be kept. It's meant to be passed on.